listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. 'Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Good morning, Dolphin fans. It's a very busy day here in Dolphins world, and on DolphinsTalk.com, we have a very special surprise appearance and guest from a social media superstar out there looking to knock on the door at Miami Dolphins training camp in Kyle Ulbrich. But before I bring him on, just got to thank our friends over at Caneswear. Caneswear is the place to go for officially licensed apparel for the Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, the Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, and all of the professional and college teams in South Florida. Looking for the latest jersey, a birthday gift, or the newest hat to hit the market for your favorite South Florida team? Check out Caneswear for their overwhelming selection of sports apparel, located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. Caneswear has it all. Not in South Florida? No worries. Visit Caneswear.com to shop their inventory from the comfort of your home, and they'll ship it to you. International fans as well. Caneswear.com is the spot at Miami Fans Shop. That's Caneswear.com. Okay, without further ado, Kyle Ulbrich has been outside the Miami Dolphins training facility. We're going to bring him in. How are you, Kyle?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Umbrella and all, so can I imagine the weather is a little inclement at the moment, or you seem very prepared?
Yeah, I'm holding it down. It's we got 15 to 20 mile an hour winds right now, so I'm trying to make sure this thing doesn't blow away and I don't get burnt by the sun. So it's a little bit of both.
That South Florida weather changes, you know, as you mentioned on some other podcasts. I believe you're in Key West these days, where you base. But really just wanted to kind of welcome you on. You know, you've shared your story with a lot of other podcasts out there. You were recently on the Dive Bar podcast. You told the fellows your story, and I thought it was great, inspirational. To me, it's almost like you're living a movie almost with Major League. You're doing the Willie Mays Hayes attempt here. Do you kind of feel like you're doing something in that regard?
A little bit. I think more of it as, like I said before, me and the fiance we agreed to film me my last year going into the spring of next year, doing all of this stuff, going to all the camps. So I'm like, while I'm at it, I already wasted 1 year of my kicking prime last year unemployed. So I figure might as well just try to get my face in there before training camp. And I know the NFL takes a few hours out of your day, getting through all the paperwork, all the documents, all the physicals and doctor's appointments and all that kinds of stuff. So I figured, well, I might as well try before the season so I don't have to worry about all that during.
I think you're handling it a very excellent and inspirational way. You're really, you're virtually and literally knocking on the door to try to make a dream come true. And here in the Miami Dolphins fan base, when we look into the game of football, one of the things that I love to break down is the holding aspect of a punter's job. And that's really why I was so excited to kind of talk to you after seeing a highlight that you put on a tweet in response to me kind of jumping on in here and asking you. And if you don't mind, I'm going to throw out that highlight that you tweeted. And this was one of the best holds I've ever seen. So simple, but from the guy himself and from someone who has to do this as an actual job within a football game, take me through that play, and then we'll have some fun breaking down the actual science. And I frankly call it an art of holding the football for a kicker.
Yeah, for sure. I remember the moment pretty well. I think at that point we were only up by it was a one-score game, and I knew, we had to get the points on the board. We're already, knocking on the door pretty much at, I think it was inside the 10-yard line. And the biggest thing I worried about, it wasn't about leaning the ball or getting them to tilt on that one, because the only thing I could do there is just get the ball down. And I was trying so hard to make sure my knee wasn't going to be in the way and that the ball, I wasn't putting my entire body weight trying not to fall forward on it. So luckily, I mean, I don't know if it was just me fooling around at practice all the time, just catching bad balls and like making sure, just in case something happens, you're ready for it. I was able to put very minimal weight on the ball, like a normal hold, and kept my knee out of the way, and everything stayed smooth. And Zeke trusted me enough to put the ball through the pipes.
And that was one of the, kind of a worst case scenario that you made good. Usually it's such a simple, all right, if the team's down 7 points, you get the 6, and then you're going to tie the game, right? But it's the battery. It's the long snapper's got to do the perfect job. The holder's got to do the catch. Kicker's got to put it through the pipes. Take us through what a perfect catch and spin. What is your methodology in this?
Yeah, so typically I only put my index finger and my middle finger down where the kicker wants it. And normally it's, the kickers are always the same. They put their toe out where you want the ball, take their steps 3 and 2, and then, go from there pretty much. But sometimes, for Zeke, when it was either his first or second year, if he was towing the ball or something pregame, I tell him, hey, don't worry about fixing your swing. You know what? If you're towing it, I know to just move the ball half of an inch inside. You keep the same swing, and I'll make sure I'll get the contact on the ball for you. Like, don't worry about fixing it. And most of the time, I mean, not most of the time, almost all the time, we would be good and rock with it, and you'd be able to get so many snaps and holds on the sideline and stuff like that. You see how always hitting. And if it's just a natural thing, miss hits one, I don't worry about it. No, but I mean, like the perfect process. 2 fingers down, 1 hand up, bring the ball from the point up. And I mean, that muscle memory of, I know people use the knee as a backstop, but I try to make sure my finger always gets back to the point. And I can't say I use it as a focal point to get my elbow to my knee as the backstop. I'm sure like some subconscious part of me does. But between the catch and putting it down, spin the ball with your palm and make sure you get everything set. I mean, the perfect snaps, right at the top of the numbers for me. Just putting it down, spinning it, laces out, perfect lean for the kicker, tilt forward, backwards, whatever he likes. Work with him. I mean, you know what he wants. And, go from there.
You said the magic phrase for Dolphin fans and the pop culture joining of this incredible cosmic meeting that we have here, because we're going to throw Ace Ventura into the mix here. We're going to talk laces out and holding, and a theory that, although a fictitious movie, Dan Marino was the holder. And that used to be a quarterback job. It used to be either a backup, a third stringer, the starting quarterback himself. And then it kind of morphed into where it became the punter's job. As a punter and holder, could you take me through that kind of transition of the responsibility, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I know you pointed out the Tony Romo situation, and before then, I mean, I think there were a few teams that would put their punter back there, and I think it would just be a toss-up. Whatever the teams wanted, whatever teams felt most comfortable with is what they would go with. And I think nowadays you don't see the quarterback as much, and I probably in part of that too is the risk factor of somebody coming in for a dive block, whether that's their backup or the starter out there. That's one guy you just don't want to risk, even if it's a 1% chance or minimal. And I think outside of that, the punters are just worth with the kickers so much more out throughout the day. In high school, middle school, if you guys do field goals in middle school, they're with them less because everybody's together the same amount. But college and the NFL, those are your friends, so you're with them all the time, and you take so many reps in practice. You mess around with them, you joke with them, and you know what they want. So it's just, in my opinion, the best relationship and chemistry, I guess, to have a good field goal team.
That relationship and chemistry, it's very important. As the Dolphins have shown and seen, they've switched over a couple punters, and Jason Sanders has been the kicker for the last several years. He's had some terrific years. He's had some off years, and he started out with Matt Haack. And Matt Haack, is a solid holder. Really, never any mistakes. Sanders had some of his better years percentage-wise. And then a couple of, new holders came in, new punters. I want to show you a couple of different forms or holds. And these have been very consistent across these players. The first one I'm going to show you is the guy currently in Miami is Jake Bailey. This is how he holds the ball.
Good hold right there.
So how would you break this down in similarity to maybe your strategy?
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar. He does the pinch technique, I believe, because there's 3 fingers in the back. I believe I see the thumb and the index finger, right around the nose of it, causing very little abrasion for when the ball's hit. There's no hand or fingers, anything blocking the sweet spot of it. The hands up, pinky level with the tip of the ball. Lean forward slightly towards him. Good hold from everything I can see. And, I assume that a little lean forward and a little lean to the holder is the way Sanders likes it.
Another aspect of the hold that I've noticed through a couple of these guys is varying follow through or literally holding their pose. So in a lot of sports, I've kind of, made the theory that, it's almost like a swing, a basketball free throw, where a follow through is important. A guy like a Thomas Morstead, great punter, great holder, a couple of years ago was a Dolphin. He is literally frozen until the kick goes through the uprights. Is that similar to, is that even a thing? Is it the follow through, the holding the pose? Is that such a thing in your practicing?
For me, it's not, but I'm sure for a guy like Morstead, who's been in the NFL for a few decades now, I think he's going on, but probably close to his 15th or 20th year. And he's an old guy. I bet he's been around the league. I'm sure he has a good reason for why he does it. I know you're keeping the hand there, and you're not going to drop it before the ball's kicked. So I'm sure either something happened or it's just a way of which he just practices it, which a kicker probably liked in the past, or that he noticed was the best case, that he kept his pose until the uprights. It could be not ceremonial, but cautious. Maybe he doesn't want to look at the ball before it goes through the uprights. He doesn't want to jinx it by looking at it, or I'm forgetting the exact word. Superstitious.
Superstitious, yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want to look at the ball, and that could be part of keeping the head down. But keeping your fingers there, you got the muscle memory, your hands there, and if the holder blames you for it, I mean, he's got the proof right there. He hasn't moved an inch. So, I think that's probably goes into it. I'm sure it's a great technique. The way I do it is I watch the ball through the uprights. Once it's left, I keep my head down a little bit just so that I don't pull off early. I mean, there's no reason to do that. The fans will let you know if the ball goes in. So, it's a good technique, depending on how the kicker wants it. If Sanders wants me to keep my head down, I'm not lifting my head up for the rest of practice. I'll tell you that much.
There you go. Absolutely. And in terms of sharpening the skills overall, you obviously need a person or two to help you do it, or do you go out with the jugs machine at all, get the hand solid? Like, how do you refine that skill and wrap it all together?
I think part of it is good hands, and some of that, you can't, some people have it and some people don't, as far as like the whole brick hands kind of a thing go. That's why, the joke's made about DBs and wide receivers. That's why one's on defense and one's on offense. And it's a hard thing to train is your hands. But, for punters, I mean, you're out there catching the ball all the time from the snapper, whether he wants to get work in, whether you're catching field goals. You have a ball in your hands most of practice. It's just the way it is. And me personally, being down the keys with the fiance for the past 2 years, I've didn't have a long snapper. She would send me a few snaps, but she's gotten better. It hasn't been NFL snapper quality, but normally what I would do is I would just kind of spin the ball or put the ball behind me, just a way where the first touch to the ball is an uncomfortable feeling. That way, you're getting a perfect snap probably 99 out of 100 times from actually probably more than that from an NFL long snapper. They barely ever mess up. So that little bit of uncomfortable, whether you grab the ball at the top of it, whether you grab the ball at the wrong side, you get a weird grip. That first touch, I mean, that's how you catch the ball. So that first touch helps me get a feel for it, and that little time delay is good for me to move the ball around, get my hands adjusted, work them quick. Because quick hands are what you need. You can't have slow hands. If you put the ball down late and the kicker's either going to mess up his swing or you're getting your hand hit. So somebody's paying the consequence, and you better hope, it's going through the uprights either way. So there's a few methods to practice it. It's just personal preference. I like being uncomfortable catching the ball because, where you put it down, if you get the snap from a long snapper, it's going to be at the head. So you're going to get a good snap. And I just like being in an uncomfortable setting and practicing. So in a game, uncomfortables don't really mess you up.
Last question for you, and then I'll let you get back to hopefully getting yourself on in the building there, because you've definitely earned it. From a punting standpoint, the last frontier, I feel like you mentioned your hero, so to speak, Pat McAfee, one of your favorite punters. Have you ever gotten the chance to lay someone out on special teams on a tackle?
If I'm being completely honest, tackling has not been my strong suit. There's an image, I think I posted it on my own Instagram, and I'd like to take credit for the tackle. I don't think I got the assist for it. It was against Virginia Tech. It was a little bit of a run back, and I mean I tripped them up. I haven't laid anybody out since JV football, when they would make me do JV and varsity back-to-back days. Outside of laying the wood on a JV game here or there, I really haven't had the opportunity. I didn't hit kickoffs in college because we had a good guy who did that. And my punt unit always did an amazing job getting the guy downfield. I don't think at MTSU I had a single one return for a touchdown. I think the longest one was 40 or so yards, and I think that was Virginia Tech. So I haven't had many opportunities. The vast majority of them is on kickoff, where Pat McAfee made his highlight reel. So I haven't had my fair share of opportunities, and the ones I have, it has not been pretty. My dad had a hard time calling me son after seeing the way I handled a few of those. So.
Well, I appreciate your time, Kyle, very much. I really wish you the best of luck. You got that awesome, underdog, undrafted free agent, mentality. A lot of us Dolphin fans really love and cheer for. And I wish you all the best. So best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
And for you Dolphin fans out there, check every one of us out at DolphinsTalk.com. Kyle, stay dry. Stay out of the sun, too, with that umbrella. Be well.